I didn't think the Celtics could top their Game 1 comeback win, but in Games 3 and 4 I was proven wrong. In the past, they lose these games, mainly because of their struggles in the clutch, but this postseason they've really turned the corner in that aspect. Game 3 was the first game for the Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton, but their offensive system was so dominant that even without him, they were extremely tough to handle. We skipped to the fourth quarter. The Celtics were just trying to stay afloat and keep this game close. Tatum comes off a screen from Horford, and knowing that the Pacers like to stick their hedges onto him longer than normal, he feeds Horford for his 6th 3 of the game. Later, after 3 free throws from Tatum, Indy attacks Horford out of the pick and roll, and McConnell gets downhill to get a shot off at the rim for Siakam to clean up. Every time one team would gain some momentum, the other would respond immediately. Tatum gets a switch, attacks Turner's top foot, and McConnell loses Derek White for the 3. Here's that response from the Pacers. Their guards did a great job getting into the paint as Nembhard gets to the nail for the step back. But right back down the floor, the Celtics draw Turner out from the paint again, and off a DHO, Jaylen Brown attacks and puts his head in the rim. But off that make, Drew for some reason helps run the strong side corner and gives Nembhard an open 3. It's now a 7-point game with 4 minutes left, and the Celtics once again get the switches they want and isolate Horford on the guard to get to the jump hook. But off that make, the Pacers guards again get into the paint, and Holiday has to tag the roller, leaving McConnell wide open in the corner again. Look how fast the Pacers ran off of made baskets. This is why their offense was so dominant even without their all-star point guard. 8-point game with 2.5 minutes, and at this point there has been 6 straight possessions from both teams ending in made shots. Jaylen Brown has a mismatch. Nembhard passes him off to Turner, but it doesn't matter as Brown gets to a spot and makes it 7 straight possessions with a bucket. And now it's time for the Celtics to clamp down and get some stops. After forcing Turner to take a tough shot, on the other end, Drew gets deep in the paint to force Indiana rotations and get Tatum wide open for a 3. After some Pacers free throws, this might be my favorite play of the entire playoffs. Off a pin down, Tatum curls to get to the hoop, but feels Miles Turner helping off the corner and throws another behind the back dime to Horford for his 7th 3 of the game to cut the lead to 2. I honestly believe that given the circumstances, with this being a playoff game, in crunch time trying to lead your team to a comeback on the road, this is one of the greatest passes I've ever seen. But off a huge stop to keep the deficit at 2. Tatum makes another good play to give it to Holiday, and he gets downhill to go head up with Siakam for the and 1. After all that's happened in the fourth, the Celtics are now up 1 and on an 11-2 run with 20 seconds left. Tatum gets a switch again onto Turner, but misses the layup, and both teams are now in scramble mode. Carlisle decides to let things play out, and Drew stays solid to recover and get the steal to essentially end the game. The Celtics somehow survived this after being down 18 in the first half and down 8 with 2.5 minutes to go in the fourth. Now this video would have ended right here had Boston not have done the exact same thing in game 4, but here they are facing another late lead in the fourth. After a missed bunny to extend the lead to double digits, Boston came down to hit a tough 3 and make it a 5-point swing. A few possessions later, the Celtics try to attack the top and mismatch, but he denies, so they seek out a Turner switch onto Tatum. He attacks, and McConnell is caught ball watching, leaving Holiday wide open in the paint. Indiana comes out of the timeout with back-to-back possessions attacking off the catch for buckets in the paint. The Celtics mismatch hunt more than anyone in the league, sometimes to their own demise, but they get the Turner switch again, and Tatum finally gets his 3-ball to fall to keep the deficit in reach. The Pacers guards truly had their way getting downhill this series. Nembhard gets a switch and again gets to a spot in the mid-range for the step back. But the Celtics come back down, and Drew attacks another defender bigger than him, gets his body in between the defender and the ball, and finishes the and 1. And a big moment in this game that shouldn't go unnoticed that many fans probably didn't realize is at this point Tatum has 5 fouls and Joe Mazzulla checks him out with 3:54 to go. He does this to prevent him from picking up his last foul on the next defensive possession, and uses his use it or lose it timeout before it gets under 3 minutes. Indiana scores, he calls the timeout, and out of the break he draws up a play to get Tatum isolated with space against Obi Toppin, and he goes downhill for the easy dunk. The Celtics get a stop and switch onto Toppin again, and JB hits him with a very legal step through to tie the game up. After a few misses in a timeout, the Pacers once again get deep in the paint, but Brown times his block up perfectly. Then on the other end, he gets a switch, stays under control to find D. White, who hits the go-ahead 3 with 40 seconds left. Then when they need a crucial stop, They show how versatile their defense is by switching every single DHO and screen to get the stop. And finally, on the last possession of the game, they pretty much just show who wants it more by getting the offensive rebound to finish the game and the series sweep. The Pacers lost 3 games in this series while being given a 90% chance to win in the 4th. But this just shows how resilient this Celtics team was in the clutch, something that we couldn't say in the past with their current core. Now the Celtics are one step away from completing their day one goal of winning a championship, but the Mavs are sitting in front of them. I'll dive deeper into that series in my finals preview video, so look out for that. But appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.